And it's Friday morning, and we are live at 9 on WJLX 101.5 FM. James Phillips here, and this morning joined by a couple of our homebodies for Live at 9. We've got acting general manager of the of WJLX, Jonathan Timmons, and then our sports director, Brian Hale. So, guys, good morning.
Thank you for bringing me
What
in.
up?
Um, we've got like a special announcement to make, right? That's our modus operandi for today. We're gonna, or I guess,
Well, as you know, it's football season's right around the corner, James. And every year for the past 3, 4 years, WGLX has hosted a local football athletics get together.
right?
And it's been known as the WJLX Media Day. And we're happy to announce WJLX Media Day will continue on in 2025 on July the 11th at 11 a.m. at Los Reyes in downtown Jasper.
That's right, and it's I think it's going to be an incredible event. It always is. We have all the local high school football teams in. They bring in coach and players, and us media members grill them with some great questions and find out information for the season. And it's a great way to kick off the high school football season here in Walker County. Everybody's excited. Everybody's undefeated right now, and everybody thinks they've got that chance at a state championship, and they get to tell us all about it and get to tell all the listeners about it. I think it's such a neat event. It started years ago. We started it.
Warehouse 319
Yeah,
back in 2017.
It was pretty much just Hale and I and Jonathan Bentley at the Daily Mountain Eagle, and we did it guerrilla style on a phone. My son was filming it, and then I was so excited when Brett took it over in 2022, and so WJLX has been the sponsor and taken care of it over those last few years. And this year we'd had a lot of question marks. Hey, is that still going on? What's coming up with football season? And we get to tell them today. It's on Friday, July the 11th. All the coaches will be there, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we have got a lot of things that, of course, have happened this year. We always have some coaching turnover. Coach Hall at Oakman is out. Coach Painter, who's been a long-time assistant, in, they'll be leading off with us. As a matter of fact, James, I've got the schedule right here. At 11:10, that'll be Oakman. They'll start off with us, and then it'll be Cordova, followed at 11:35. Then Dora takes the noon spot, followed by Carbon Hill at 12:25. Summoning Christian at 12:50. Curry at 1:15, and then Jasper takes us all out at 1:40.
And that's kind of the way that we've handled it a lot of years. New coaches kind of start first, and then we wrap it up with our largest school in the area, Jasper. What has been, hell, you've been at every media day, I would think. What's been your biggest takeaway and the thing that you enjoy the most about putting on the event?
Well, the biggest thing to me, James, is we've been to SEC Media Days. How many football players get something like that?
Right.
How many players get even a Sun Belt Conference Day? They don't. However, there's an opportunity for every single football player in this area to have a chance to get on and represent their school by showing leadership, showing dedication. Coach will bring them. This is their chance.
Yeah.
This is their moment. They are a representative of their community and their school, and we want to show it to them. Why? And you never know. We've had guys who've gone on to play college football at media days.
Yeah, well, and I think that was the reason that we started the event years ago was we wanted to give kids an opportunity to be able to do something like that and to help them grow in a different way. It'll help them no matter what, if they go on to play at the next level or if they go into to college or if they go into the workplace. Just being able to get out in public, speak in front of a camera, talk to people you don't know, be in that situation, it's a really good thing for the student athletes. Mm-hmm. And then also, it's grown to the point to where it is kind of a source of pride to be able to represent your school and your team at this particular event. Coaches use it as a way to get kids to work hard during the summertime. Like I've had coaches tell me, I tell them at the beginning of the summer, if you work out hard and you become a leader, I'll pick you and you'll be the one that represents us at media day, that sort of thing. And that's something that I think is a really cool thing that has kind of grown out of it.
Well, I mean, that's some of the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, exactly, Brian, and well said, James. It's about supporting the local athletics, the local athletes for WJLX, for the radio station. That's something I've wanted to continue on. Something that Brett Elmore has done so well in the past, and that is a legacy for local radio that all of us here are trying to continue on. And especially, I liked what you said about having these young athletes, or giving these young athletes an opportunity to get on the microphone, to get out in front of the camera. Public speaking skills go a long way,
Right.
and you need to be able to carry yourself wherever you go in life with those skills under your belt. And this is a great opportunity to get experience doing that. You know, in the safety of your hometown, with you know, your local radio supporting you at a great place like Los Reyes. You know, it's probably a lot of those kids and coaches have been many times. So, yeah, that, I mean, like I say, I just couldn't agree with you more about the opportunity, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, because this will be my first one. I provided microphone cables last year
I remember
to Brett.
that.
Yeah,
There was a last minute cut
he's like, "Oh, you got any extra XLRs?" I'm like, "Man, come on, I got plenty." So I dropped him off with him, and so I was a back kind of a backroom supporter, but happy to be out in front of it this year.
I think a lot of people enjoy being able to watch this event and that sort of thing and listen to it live on the air, but they don't know the amount of time and effort that actually goes into putting something like this together. When you've got that many moving parts, and I mean, you're dealing with high school kids, you know, so you never know what could go on. And high school football coaches, we got some really good ones around here, but I mean, they could be a little flaky too sometimes.
Well, I'm not going to put
Yeah.
any of that on them, because yeah, there are a lot of moving parts, and what I'm worried about is all the tech to
Oh,
make
the
it happen.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
The tech thing is the thing that nobody understands unless you've done it.
we're learning. I mean, we put it on the radio, but of course, we want to be a multimedia company as well. So we're putting together the streaming aspect of it all. So we're going to have, you know, not only will it be live, but will have an area for side interviews, and you know, for content to be aired later on, you know,
Right.
in a podcast style, video and audio. And you know, Brian, I'm throwing this at you live on the air, but I mean, all of you guys as well. You know, we're talking about media days, and you mentioned SEC, or you know, some other major conferences. Have you ever seen them do like a photo booth for each player? You know, and there's like because we'll have some photographers there as well. So I thought about an idea of, you know, getting some personal photos for the players, you know, for their own sake, and you know, give them a football, put them in like a lighting situation with their team colors and stuff. I think that's something we can pull off. Don't want to put the cart before the horse there, but yeah, something I've been brainstorming. It's like I say, it's my first time doing it, so I'm excited about it.
That happen.
I think we can make it happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would be a neat idea. And another thing that helps athletes, like if you are going to the next level, or you know, if that's something you aspire to do, whatever next is, getting your picture made, you know, things like that are things that you just have to do. And so I think it'll be a neat experience for the kids to be able to do a little photo shoot, or have a side interview where it's just you and one person talking and you're getting interviewed about it, you know. And then being a student that's on the stage with your coach. Most of them, or a lot of them, they're either wearing their jerseys and they look, you know, they're very presentable, or some of them show up in suits.
Absolutely.
And you know, I kind of, by the end of the day, a lot of times we'll give hey, this was the best dressed team, or this was the most well spoken bunch, you know. And it's been great to see over the years of this event, to see how the first few years, and really you could say this about us as media members, but also the student athletes, how much more comfortable that they've become on air and on camera first few years it was, you'd ask a question and you'd get a,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very short answer.
Yeah, a lot of that type stuff. And now you ask questions and you get sentences back.
Conversation.
Yeah. And I'm saying that could have been even with the coaches. It's made the coaches better coaches because
Better leaders.
They get more to be able to be out there and in public too. And I think it's just a super event that if people have not been a part of it, if you haven't watched it and you're any type of football fan, you got to take time this year on July the 11th to tune in throughout the day. And that's what we'll do. We'll be throughout the day. You heard the schedule. Hale released the schedule there. Each team will have their time. We'll be in and out on Facebook. And I think we'll be live on television again. Right?
Yeah, we've talked to Don Early, the Alabama Cable News Network, or Alabama Cable Network, I believe. That's where they had it last year on a couple different cable channels. Yep. So, yeah, I've already made that connection and just got to finalize the times for them on that side. But
so we should
all
be
possible.
On Spectrum again, on their network, all over the state, and then we'll be inviting media from across the area to come over. We've had media come from Coleman, Birmingham, other surrounding counties to be able to come because either they're covering the teams or they have teams playing our teams and like to get that information out there. So it's really become quite an event, and we've seen the last several years other communities have started doing media days when we were really the first ones to break that ground. Jefferson County has one now. I know the Over the Mountain schools have one. Like there's a lot of different type events like this that goes on. Coleman has one now every year. So, and Coleman is going to be copying Jasper.
Of course. I mean, they see the idea and they take it for themselves.
They see how cool we are and they want to be just like us.
Let's start the trash talk early.
That's right.
That's going to be yours, Bubba. I'm going to be on the road.
That's true. And just to remind everybody, it's live at 9 here with James Phillips. And this morning we've got Jonathan Timmons and Brian Hale with me. Got the radio family together here this morning. We can talk a little bit about what our plans for the coverage in the area is as well. I know that the plan is to have a county game of the week each week, and Brian will be one of the people on the call for that. And then the Jasper Vikings, that's the team that everybody's like, oh, who's going to be calling them this year? Well, I guess it's going to be James Phillips and Woody Wilson. That'll be the crew most of the time.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, as far as you can show up every day, and Woody Wilson, he had tempted with not going on the road, but I think he's already changed his mind on that. I ain't gonna take him away from the broadcast booth either. Anytime.
Right.
I need him in there. I need you both in there.
We may need a chaperone at some point, but I think my wife could probably handle some of that. But I'm looking forward to it. I was honored at the end of last season just to have the opportunity to kind of, I can't even say fill Brett's shoes, but just to fall in line behind him and be able to do the Jasper games was a huge honor for me, and I was just glad that I could help. And it's definitely an honor to be asked to do it this year. I think it's going to be a really good season for the Vikings. They've got a lot of people back, and then throughout the county, I think Hale's going to see some great football games. We've got a lot of teams that they're wanting to hit that next level, and so hopefully we have 7 teams that make the playoffs. But likelihood of that happening may not be very good. But I think we'll have several. At
this point in the season, anything's possible, right?
Everybody's undefeated. Well, everybody's playing for a championship.
I do want to piggyback on something because it's an honor calling Viking games. A lot of people don't know this, but Brett told me when Johnny had to step out mid-season back in 2022 and hand it to me, he said, look, there's not that many people that have called Viking games.
Right.
Well, you got to realize this will be the first season that an Elmore is not calling a Viking game in some way or another. It's very, very, very it's an honor for it. So trust me, James, I understand fully.
Right.
And it is going to be so tough
no
to
pressure
not have it
or anything, Brian. Thank you. No pressure.
Hey, look, you can do it, buddy. Trust me. You've got it.
And then Timmons, I bet you'll be joining us in the booth a little bit during the Viking.
Oh yeah,
games as
oh
well.
yeah. I'll get in there with you. Maybe pre-game, post-game. But that's another thing this year. We've got plans for post-game with a couple of different folks for the Viking broadcast, both that are Viking. I'm sorry, or Jasper High School teachers. Nick Norris and James Patrick Hanna will all be involved in some way. Nick Norris brings a lot of experience in radio over from Birmingham. He worked at WJOX for a while doing high school coverage over there. So we're happy to have Nick involved, James Patrick Hanna as well.
And if I'm not mistaken, they'll be handling kind of a scoreboard show, that type of thing.
That's
Is
the direction
idea
we're
right
headed
now?
in. That's the direction we're headed in. We still got to get everybody spun up and hammer out some details on that. Right now, I guess the focus has been Media Day. And that really is kicking off our football focus.
Right. Well, and everybody thinks, it's only June, and we're talking about high school football, but
Starts early in August, don't it?
yeah, I mean, it's right around the corner, and players are they're out now doing 7-on-7 camps. They're traveling to different places, meeting up with other schools. Like honestly, high school football is almost to the point where it's a year-round thing these days. But it's definitely something that people are excited about. And once summertime gets here and it's so hot, people start talking about high school football. you
Yeah.
know.
Well, we all grew up like this. We're in the heartland of the Southeastern Conference. Have July come around, and what happens? SEC Media Days and the college football books come out.
Right.
That's the same thing we're doing for high school. I automatically think July, Independence Day, then Media Days.
Right. Yeah.
It's become the standard.
I think of 100-degree weather and then high school media days. And that's exactly how it's felt this week.
Yeah. 100-degree weather and a gold bond.
Oh my goodness! I'm just waiting for them to somebody turn the heat off.
Somebody was talking about getting ready for 4th of July barbecue like a couple days ago, and I was like, it's 100 degrees. I don't even want to think about standing in front of a bunch of hot barbecue right now,
Stand outside, you get barbecue.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a break real quick, guys. We'll listen to a tune or two and then come back and talk a little bit more about the high school football coverage that will be coming up this year. You guys are listening to WJLX Live at 9 with James Phillips. We'll be right back here on 101.5 FM. And we're back here live at 9. James Phillips, joined by Brian Hale and Jonathan Timmons. And we're talking high school football this morning here on Live at 9. Well, we just let you know that on July the 11th, that's going to be a Friday, WJLX will be hosting high school football media days, and it'll be at Los Reyes this year. I talked to Carlos yesterday at Los Reyes, and he was excited to have us. He said it's always a huge event. A lot of people come out. And that's one thing that we do want to let everybody know. We'll be on that one whole side where the bar's at of Los Reyes, and it's wide open for the public to come. If you don't want to listen at home, come and check it out and just kind of see how the event goes. You're not getting free food.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
go buy you some lunch.
Right.
Pop back in.
Right. Well, and buy lunch at Los Reyes.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Go on the right side, buy some lunch for the players and coaches. Who knows?
Right.
And buy lunch for me.
And me.
Yeah, we'll all take lunch. I was going to say we might all take margaritas, but towards the end of the afternoon, we'll all take the margaritas too.
We'll have a chip eating contest.
Right.
Like baskets of chips. Just see which player. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
It's like the College World Series does Jello shots, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. During the break, we were working on some technical issues, but Brian had said he thought it'd be good to kind of go over each school and what we're thinking we might see out of them, not just at media days, but this upcoming football season. So, Brian, take it away there and tell us your thoughts on
some preseason
yeah,
analysis.
some preseason.
Are you prepared for this preseason analysis? You're going to put that out there?
I'm going to try the best I can,
Okay, that's all you
considering
can
that last year I was out.
Yeah.
First year every year that I'd been out for a while. But I'm going to take this up. Let's just start off with Jasper. You guys got to look at this. David Reeves, his first year at Jasper, went 1-9. Last year he went 7-3. It was a crime that they missed the playoffs. but it should show you 1 year how much of a difference. JP, you had a chance to look at that team near the end of the year. We do know already at running back, they're fine. Mekhi Pledger, probably one of the best backs in the state. The other thing that I'm looking at, though, is how their offensive line is done. Because if you have got that, then your quarterback problems are non-existent, provided that they've developed well. But you had a chance to see that last year from a passing perspective. How did they look?
There's a lot of skill position players that are back this year for Jasper, and I think that's going to be a key. Offensive line will be a definite. How are they going to be is going to be a question mark going in. They have a few starters back on the offensive line, and I think it's just how do we mesh the new faces that'll be there. But I expect the offense for Jasper to be outstanding. They were last year. A lot of guys coming back. The defense may have a few more question marks, but you saw them. They beat Muscle Shoals last year, in what people considered a huge upset. But Jasper played well throughout the season. That Muscle Shoals game. I still think about the call that Brett had on that game. It was such a great call. It was such a great win for the program, and it was just a great game. Then you think you mentioned them missing the playoffs. You take one loss away, and that main loss was Coleman in that downpour of a game, and Jasper had that game the entire game and let Coleman come back and win it, and Coleman made the playoffs and Jasper didn't. That is such a bitter taste that everybody still has in their mouths. So Jasper wants that win back this year, and that may be the difference. The win against Coleman might be the one that puts them in the playoffs.
Well, you look at from the Vikings' perspective. You take a good look. They start off, of course, with Brookwood. Then they play Sipsey Valley. Then they go to Decatur. That's a humongous game. And then anytime that you play at Coleman in this series, look, it doesn't really matter if you play in Jasper and Coleman. One way or the other, it presents its own challenges. It's huge. It's going to be the game of the year. Then Athens. Then on the 26th, Dora.
Right.
The county rivalry.
I'm so glad those two are playing each other again.
Me too. It needs to happen every single year. Muscle Shoals will be on October the 10th, followed up, always tough, Hartselle.
Right.
Always tough. And then Columbia finishes up region play, and then I want to say that's probably the Limestone County is to end off the year. So, look, they went 3-3 in region play last year. I almost think that you can probably look at it as this could be a 4-2, 5-1 year in region play. The Vikings could make that much of an improvement. It really depends on what has happened along the offensive and defensive lines.
Right. Yeah, and that will be where the story of the season will come from, the trenches. I think that'll definitely be the case. How about moving on to the Walker County schools? I know you've got a lot of experience with Summerton Christian. They're kind of looking for a bounce back, they're in rebuilding mode, but I think they've got the right guy for the job in head coach Jarius Williams.
He's absolutely shown great and effective leadership since he's been there, and he's setting a good standard. Look, we know that the numbers are down across the board, no matter the classification. But when you look at a 1A school like Summerton Christian, there's some extra challenges in the fact that you're loading up and you might have 18, 19 players. That's something he's worked on, is to be able to deal with the fatigue battles that go on with when you're having 18, 19 players that are having to play both ways, at least 70% of the time.
Right. Well, and there were times last year where they didn't know if they were going to have enough players to play a game, and that's been the case the last couple seasons. But I you've said, and I've heard that their numbers are up this year, and I know whether the numbers are up or not, I know that they're their cardio's up because
Oh, yeah.
I know what Jarius preaches. So
He is running those guys like crazy. They are going to be one fabulously conditioned team. I will say that much. As far as development of the leaders, uh, look for Cornelius. Rick Cornelius, I think, is going to be probably one of their top guys to project out, and I think they're just going to kind of build around him.
right, and then we've got the new coach in the area is Coach Painter at Oakman, but he's a familiar face for Oakman, so it's not like a completely new takeover or anything.
No, they stayed in within the family. I mean, literally, he and Ryan Hall are brother-in-laws.
Right.
So it stays within this, and even though you pointed it out, Oatman with Ben Painter is going to be new in that sense, but all of those kids that have played on that team, they all know him.
Right.
That helps out tremendously. The only thing is the region
Yeah,
that
that's a tough
Oakman and
region.
Carbon Hill play in is one of the hardest in Class 3A. You got Fayette County in there. You've got Winfield. You got Gorda. That's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
Just having Gordo and Winfield every year, those are two teams that it's hard to beat. Anybody in 3A would have a trouble with that schedule. And Carbon Hill is another team in that region, and they've been in rebuilding mode, but they've got DJ Emerson there, and I think that he's done a good job of getting the number. Kind of like where Summerton Christian is now, that's where Carbon Hill was last year. Getting the numbers back out, getting guys in shape, getting them ready to play. And they picked up a win last year.
Well, I think you'll remember this when DJ was at Curry. He developed a great quarterback in Josh Day who, lit up 2,000 yards before he got injured. DJ is going to develop great quarterbacks, and he's going to make sure the wide receivers are there. Where he's going to want to develop everything is, of course, in those trench positions. And, of course, he's going to have a good running back. I think you're going to see all of that emerge for Carbon Hill this year.
Yeah, I hope so. And then you tie in the rest of our teams are all in a region together with Cordova, Dora, and Curry all playing each other in the same region.
That makes life easy for me.
What makes it easier for everybody?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
They're all
They're all in the same region. All three in the same region.
Curry, Cordova.
And Dora.
And Dora, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
So
all in
those
the same region.
Those are definitely three games we want to make sure we have. And
Yeah.
we're going to be doing a lot of these games on 88.5.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So and we'll be doing it a little bit differently this year than previous years. We've learned some things about the radio station and how operations work for 88.5. So I want to put it out there. We are looking for sponsors to carry these games, all to help support the county, the county schools. We are looking for sponsors for Walker County Games of the Week. So
Right,
if you
right.
want to get in touch, please do.
Yeah, and those three schools, all three have a lot of question marks coming into the season. Dora had a decent year last year. Didn't do what they had hoped to. Cordova down a little, but trying. They're still getting used to playing up a level.
Mm-hmm.
They were so used to being 3A for a long time. They're playing up in 4A, and it's a tough region. And then Curry, it's been a struggle for Curry for several years now, but I feel like they have the right person in place. I feel like they're moving in the right direction, but it's a really tough region. It's going to be a tough road. But having those three together, I think it's cool for everybody. It's cool for the entire county because you get those rivalries. They're built in already, and then you put on top of them the fact that it's region games. It's easy to drive to them. It's great gates for the high schools. Like they're going to get a lot of money because people want to come see those games. I think that only good things can happen with those three being in the same region.
I totally agree. I was looking at the schedule here, and also I love listening to you guys talk about it because y'all are so knowledgeable about the local sports, which we've been churching on, and going back to I think you mentioned you may hear me on there. Heck no, you ain't gonna hear me on there. I don't know nothing about this stuff yet. That's why you'll catch me in the production room or setting up everything because I've got a lot to learn about these local schedules. But yeah, Curry's schedule: Carbon Hill, at Cold Springs, Haleville at home, at Cordova, Hamilton at home, at Good Hope, Fayette County at home, Dora at home, and then lastly in Fultondale. Those are so close. That's
how close they are.
Such a small imprint for some high school football. I mean, that's like you said, it's a great opportunity, and it's just I like the locale matchups.
Well, and it's just so good not to see all of our schools having to travel all over the state, because the High School Athletic Association, sometimes those regions will be, there'll be schools that are 150 miles apart.
Yeah, like Gordo, for instance. Gordo's a little bit of a haul, right?
Yeah, Gordo, it's on 82, leaving Tuscaloosa, going towards Mississippi.
Okay, not too bad. But
not terrible, but still, it's a pretty good hike.
And
Yeah,
think
go
for a
ahead.
minute, some of those 1A teams, we've had years that Summoning Christian has had to go up to the northeastern part for a region game.
Right, yeah. Like they've traveled 2 hours to play in a region game. And that seems like a stretch.
It does. And it's like, you look at the AHSA, have you guys seen a map? Hello? Right. This, with a region like that, what we have those three teams together makes it so wonderful from not only a standpoint that we're not having to pay that much more, hauling those kids around from Cordova to Dora to Curry. Right. It's so much easier.
Right. It's easier travel for the programs, and it's a less of an expense for the program. And they're not doing it for the money, but it's still, saving tax dollars, if nothing else. You can look at it that way.
Everything costs something.
Right. And Timmons, we sure appreciate you saying that we at least sound knowledgeable on. I'm sure a lot of people who will listen to us call the games will beg to differ.
These freaking idiots! They don't know what they're talking about. He played.
What game are they at?
He was a starter last year.
Right, and so I'll be the first to admit that I don't know everything. I'll also be the first to admit that Hale does not know everything.
I don't know. And I'll be the first to admit that you're exactly right.
But I do think, we've both been doing this for a long time. I've been covering high school sports. We're in 2025. This is my 29th year of covering high school football. So a lot of stuff just seeps in over 29 years. Mm-hmm. And then Hale's
19,
close to 20 years. Mm-hmm. And then we've got Woody. He's at like 54 years of covering.
Why don't we have Woody in here?
Yeah, why is
we
he
should
not
have changed
talking?
out at the break. Why am I sitting?
What's the point here?
Woody was at the first football game.
The first football
game.
Football game.
Are you talking about the
18,
one
no, I'm just kidding.
The one between
Georgia and Yale or stuff like that? Yeah.
I was going to say Cain and Abel. I didn't know.
I was waiting for him to pop up over our backs here.
Yeah, I wanted to see his head pop in the window.
Look out, he's armed.
There he is. Oh, my goodness.
I knew it.
Woody, you want to come in and talk about the rest of the season here? Let's get you in here. Yeah.
And he's even got his Viking shirt on. Nobody planned it.
Good bunch of goons.
I think the head goon just walked in, probably.
That's right. It was Cain and Abel.
It wasn't. Well, okay, yeah.
And we know who won that.
We do, but they cheated.
Yeah. Man, you talk about violence, man. He murdered the guy. Come on.
So Woody, how excited are you to start the 2025 season coming up with Media Day, and then get into the high school football season and be calling the Jasper Vikings yet again?
First of all, y'all peeled off a lot of y'all peeled off a lot of layers about these teams. Good work.
Thank you.
And the Viking offense, they're gonna.
I mean, are you not excited just to see what happens?
Yeah, especially the offense.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm a defensive guy, defense and kicking.
Right.
But we may have to outscore people. You mentioned the trench. It's always the trenches.
Yeah,
it's
that's
always.
right.
Both sides of the ball. But if that develops into if they can get standoffs,
Right. Well, especially in 6A ball. Like, you got to win that battle on the line.
Yeah.
In 6A
at least
ball.
get a standoff.
Yeah.
And then we got enough skilled people, as you mentioned, that they can get it done.
Yeah.
Lincoln Smothers is a run-pass threat machine.
Yes.
And he's coming off a concussion, missed last 3 games last year with it, or last 2 games.
Yeah.
I think he's over that. He's been in basketball, summer ball, so I think he's good to go. And he is a big-time run-pass threat.
Yes.
And that symbolizes something, guys. With him and Mekhi Pledger in the backfield, are we going to start seeing them run the option some? I mean, could you see how in today's football a wishbone option?
I don't.
You can't key on them, man.
Right.
You know.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
good
Well,
point.
I don't think we'll see the option per se, but we're gonna see run pass option
That-
all day long.
Yep.
They got to have an option package.
Right, and I'm sure there
somewhere.
is.
Yeah.
And you bring up Pledger, but also you got Koger, right? In
Zion
the backfield,
Koger,
Zion
yeah.
Koger. He's faster than Pledger.
And he's just a sophomore.
Yeah, he's just going to be
Or a ninth grader.
He's going to be a sophomore this
yeah.
year. I mean, my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah.
And that's not even bringing up the wide receivers that they have. It's going to be the offense is going to be fun to watch.
Yes.
But the line's got to give them a little time and give them a little space, and maybe they will.
And you bring up Smothers, Woody, and he has a brother that's a wide receiver on the team.
Yes.
But quarterback Smothers, he has got some of the best footwork that I've seen in a long time, whether it be in the pocket or getting out of the pocket. Fast feet and can
Right.
just move and sees the field so well. He's just elusive. And if you're watching him, you're not like blown away by his speed, but he's quick.
He's a smart runner.
Right. He is definitely a smart runner.
And that the first step in football is extremely important, and he can go from there, man. Like you say, pick them up, put them down. That first step, he usually takes the right direction.
Right. I'm glad that Timmons was smart enough to hand the ball off to Woody Wilson.
Woody, you saw the transformation in between year one to year two under Coach Reeves. What do you think we're going to see in year three overall?
Well, they went from 1-9 to 7-3.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's absolute crime that they didn't
Yeah.
go to the playoffs.
And it's the total about face. Then the Coleman game. We got to go up there this year. But amazing. So how big of a step this year?
That's
Wow.
what I'm wondering.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I was segueing with my comment on Timmons being smart enough to hand the ball off to Woody.
He's smarter than you think.
Because I'm about to hand the ball off to Woody Wilson as well. Because
Oh, is it time?
the professor of rock and roll, it's 5 till 10.
Thank you.
So what you got anything special planned today on the show?
Not really. You got some neat birthdays. Beach Boys part of the birthdays and so forth and so on. But hopefully we'll play some stuff somebody likes and make their day better.
Hey, I tell you, the comments that I get throughout the community are that we love listening to Woody's show. Because,
Really?
And it's
Seriously, really?
seriously.
I had no idea, man.
Yes, and it's because you play something for everybody almost. And it's such a catalog. Yeah, let's get that head growing.
Yeah, you stick a
But-
pin in me, man. Get a pin in my ear.
I'll wait until the football season to say how honored I am to be calling games with you. I don't want to get your head too big there.
Okay.
But yeah, it is time to hand it over to Woody Wilson. So we're gonna head out for Live at 9 today. Thank you guys for listening today and all this week. We've had a great week of guests. Don't forget this weekend, big event in Cordova that we talked to Renee Sides about yesterday. They've got their Independence Day celebration going on from noon up until late in the night that night, because they're going to have fireworks at, I believe it was 9 o'clock. And then after the fireworks, they've got a band to play that's going to blow the roof off of, well, there's no roof on the park, but they're gonna have some fun in Cordova this weekend. And then next week we'll be back with Live at 9 and Woody every day. So thanks for listening. Thanks for Jonathan Timmons joining me, Brian Hale, Woody Wilson, and then as always, producer Terrell Manasco, who's doing a killer job back there, manning the camera and making sure that we sound good and look as well as we can. So, all right, guys, we'll be right back with the Woody Wilson Show here in just a few minutes.